ceremony of the Peking University and SACU essay competition, which we now call the essay and art competition, because we have entries that are not just the written word. It's wonderful to be here and great to be welcoming so many school students who've submitted essays, as well as SACU members and the judges themselves. So mine's just a little role really to remind you this is a Zoom meeting, so would be really great if everybody can keep themselves on mute unless they're actually talking, because that reduces the interference. And we hope the ceremony will last not that long, maybe half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, and then we'll encourage you all to join us at 11 o'clock for a great session having as a webinar when Francis Wood will be in conversation with Michael Crook. But let me, with no further ado, welcome the two main members from the judging panel who are with us today. So Dr. Francis Wood, in a minute, will tell you a little about the essays we've received, and we'll announce the winners. So that's going to be the exciting bit. Frances is a renowned sinologist and historian. She was the curator of the Chinese collection of the British Library for many, many years, and we're proud to say she's a SACU vice president. And then Professor Sun Hua, who's joining us from Peking, Beijing, is the director of the Center for Teaching Excellence and Learning, and also the China Center for Edgar Stone Studies. And we're delighted that he too will be speaking to us after Francis has announced the awards. And then Fang will give us, who's been organizing the whole thing, Fang Wang, another great SACU member. She will make a small announcement, thank the schools for their involvement, and then we'll close. So that's the plan of campaign. So I think without further ado, I'll hand over to Francis.
Thank you very much. It's always a fascinating moment for me when the students send in their essays. You never know what you're going to find, and I'm afraid it's a rather boring cliche that people presenting prizes at competitions such as this will always say, "Oh, you know, this year was much better than last year. I'm really impressed with how the standard has gone up." But I can say honestly, hand on heart, that this year I was really impressed with the general standard, the overall standard. It seemed to me that school students have possibly a better grasp of the ways of understanding the outside world than many of our current politicians. They really were engaged with the subject, and many of them offered very good and concrete examples of what they were saying and hopes for the future. So it really was, to me, it was the best year so far. I mean, obviously I have hopes for next year, but this year I must congratulate all those who took part, because I thought the standard was uniformly very high indeed. So it was a great pleasure, not a chore, to read through the essays. So if I start through the prizes that we're going to give, if Wang Fang is ready with her electronic awards, to start with highly commended in the over 16s. And the first one was for highly commended is Oliver Mullick from Highgate, who wrote about the benefits of Chinese investment and the investments both ways. I mean, a very sort of high economic understanding of how we can get on better. Another highly commended was Alice Peters, also from Highgate School, who wrote about sharing scientific information, you know, how progress in scientific areas should be shared amongst scientists from different countries. And of course, you know, we've seen an awful lot of that, unfortunately, over the last couple of years with the pandemic, that scientists from all over the world have had to get together to understand it. And the third highly commended was Yuko Tan from the King's School, Canterbury, who wrote about appreciating diversity and appreciating difference, and that we should celebrate these things, that we shouldn't, you know, sit on our little island and say, this is how things are. We should understand each other. Now, the The third prizes in the over 16s went to, the first one is to Christopher Rowe of Marlborough School, who wrote about the amazing, he really appreciated the poverty reduction efforts that had been made in China, the success of poverty reduction. And then there was also Gao Jingchen from Beijing International School, also took a third prize. Now he wrote an essay which was, for me, was the most instructive of all, because it was all about football. And I don't come from a very footballing family. So I really learned a great deal about his discussion about football, nationalism, and, you know, the importance of strong feelings in about football. So that was great fun for me to read and very instructive. The second prize in the over 16s, there were several again. One went to Simon Ha of Highgate School. And he wrote a very interesting essay on asking whether the Western media has been fair to China, talking about various kind of points of considerable interest and sharpness, if you like. And I think he gave a very, very balanced view, offering some counter arguments, but really pointing to the fact that Western media tends to perhaps over-influence people, and that we should be looking at other sources. Another second prize was for, I believe, his brother, Vincent Ha, from Highgate School, who wrote about the importance of education, how we're never going to achieve a better understanding of anything without education. Obviously, a vital and a very important part of our of how the world moves forward. Another second prize went to Edric Wong of King's School, Canterbury. And he wrote a very, again, to me, this was a very instructive essay. This is one of the ones I really learned from. I didn't go with and agree or disagree or whatever, but he wrote about the internet and whether the internet is a force for good and as a force for harm, if you like. He wrote, I thought, a very impressive, showed a very impressive kind of understanding of the whole difficult area. So that was very impressive. And now to the first prize in the over 16s. Hang on, which goes to, I can't find it now. Oh yeah, Ella Gonan in Highgate School. And she wrote a sort of comparison between developments in education and food production and so on in England and China. And it was a very beautifully written essay. And I was very impressed with her very cool and accurate use of Chinese characters. Her Hanzi were very beautiful, slipped in very nicely. So that was a very impressive essay. Coming to the under 16s, hang on, there are, let's see, I get in such a muddle. Under 16, there's a prize for Lavina Nung from King's School, Canterbury. This was an art prize, a very, very beautiful series of drawings of masks and an explanation of the use of masks and painted face in Peking opera. It was extremely, extremely nice. And where's the others? No, under 16s. If I go to 16. So I get terribly lost in this long. There's such a lot of people. The first prize in the under 16s goes to Ina Lin of King's School, Canterbury, who wrote an essay which reflected to some extent her own feelings, but she was writing about unconscious bias and hate crime, and you know how these of course must be eradicated, but it was quite a personal, rather beautifully written essay. So in a sense, both of the first prizes were given to people who wrote so well. So writing well is important, as well as obviously conveying the important content. And then we have the Multimedia Prize. And this was won by Lily Pfaffenzeller from Cheltenham Ladies College for a very beautiful illustration of a lion face. In some ways, I think, though this was in a very kind of traditional medium, it actually benefited from the use of internet, because as one honed in, you had a sort of blur of lines. And as you looked at it on your screen and honed into the actual piece itself, it all became clear. So it was very beautiful. And I congratulate her very much on that. So I think I'll have to ask Fang to correct. Have I got everyone there? Is it all okay? I don't want to miss anybody out. But I do congratulate everyone who contributed.
Yes, all have been.
Thank you. Okay. Very worried about my list, but I do offer my congratulations to one and all, and you'll hear a bit more about your prizes and what you're going to get later on. But thanks very much, and thanks for the pleasure you gave me for the essays that you wrote.
Thank you very much, Frances, for that little pen pictures of each of the lovely essays. I do hope there's some way in which we're going to be able to share them and we can all read them. So I hope that's in the plans. Maybe Fang can tell us about that later. But that was a great little touch on them all. And I know there'll be people on the call who'll be interested to hear about the football one. There's various ones that I think will be of interest more broadly. So now it's my pleasure to invite Professor Sun Hua to say a few words about the competition and his current thinking on it all. So Sun Hua, can I ask you to speak to us, please?
Thank you, Zoe. Good afternoon. I'm very pleased to hear with the students and the teachers. First of all, I would like to express my heartfelt congratulations to all of the participants to commemorate the contribution to Chinese people made by Dr. Joseph Needham during the Second World War. China Center for Educational Studies of Peking University and the SACU sponsored the first Needham essay competition at Needham's alma mater, Ondo School, in 2015. And Bella Barker was the winner of the first essay prize. I remember her title was Joseph Needham reminded us that we should understand the meaning of China, both past and present. And she was subsequently accepted to Oxford University to read Chinese history. The second year saw an increase in participation, including George Hawke's alma mater, St. George School. Today, we have the largest ever number of participants, spread at 10 schools in UK. One Chinese international school also participated this year. Here, I would like to thank each of you for supporting this competition and contributing towards a great understanding between China and the UK. I'm very glad to be here to continue Joseph Needham's great work of increasing harmony and understanding between Chinese and British people. As the head of the China Center for Educational Studies of Peking University, I have hosted commemorative and academic events for college and high school students in conjunction with foreign universities and institutions. The center was worked hard to encourage young people to get involved in people-to-people exchanges and to play an active role in deepening international relations by overcoming barriers and prejudice and misunderstanding. The center is planning to invite SACU members and young students to visit China to participate the Sino-UK Understanding Forum and to join a trip along the footsteps of Joseph Needham and George Hogg many years ago. At last but not least, I want to say a big thank to all of you. It's a great experience for all the participants. Some of the former winners of essay competition were enrolled in Oxford University, LSE, and SOAS to study Chinese history. I look forward to meeting you in Peking University in the future to study the Chinese history in Beijing. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sun Hua. And I hope the students have noticed you've got an invitation from the professor to study in Peking University. So send him email and say, yes, please, we'd like to come. So that's lovely, Sun Hua. Thank you so much. Can I now turn to Fang and ask her to thank the schools and tell us about the prizes, which I'm sure is of interest to the students.
Okay. Yeah, firstly, I would like to say a big thank you to everyone who come to the award ceremony today. And of course, I want to offer my gratitude to all the students and the teachers who have been support with us over the past years for the essay competition. And a big congratulations to all the winners today. I want to tell in specific about the prizes. For all the participants, you will be offered 1 year free membership of SACU. And for all the prize winners, plus the membership, everyone will be able to get a prize certificate offered by Peking University and the SACU together. And as for the prize money, the third prize is £25 and the second prize is £50 and the first prize is £100 and then the multimedia prize is £50. Yeah, although I know that the money is not big money, but I just want every participant and every winners to be able to buy yourself a small gift for your love to the mutual understanding Korea of the two countries, and also your love to the and your love and your efforts into this essay competition. And I know this year is really special year, right? So I know that in fact there are more schools who have expressed interest and more students expressed interest in this competition, but due to the difficulty preparing for the exams and also school studies, have to change their mind at the end. But no worries, I look forward to reading more essays together with Francis and Sun Hua for next year award. And all the prize money and also the certificates will be delivered to the students once the traffic, the flights and the post will be better between the two countries, because now they are in fact, they are already in China, but it will take some time to be arriving at the students. But the prize money will be handled very quickly, by SACU Executive Committee, and will be arriving at the students' hands as quickly as possible. Okay, so thank you everyone, and I look forward to seeing more students in next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fang. And I would like to extend a particular thank you on behalf of Peking University and SACU to Fang, because she's been the link organizing all this and supporting the schools. And you can see her lovely nature, that no matter people couldn't contribute this year, please come back next year. So, we're really grateful to the students that did participate. Sounds like fabulous essays that everyone's enjoyed reading. And please do spread the word and get your colleagues to participate next year. I mean, one of the interesting things that's happened for SACU is we've just recruited 3 new younger people to become part of the SACU Council, and I'm really hopeful that that's the start of a new emphasis on how we can have programs and activities that are of interest to younger people. So I think it's I think it's important to think how we can link to you as the next generation, if you like, of young people interested in working and supporting SACU. So your free 1 year membership comes with a request that please do get involved with SACU, do get involved in our activities, and we will be thinking about how the people that have now joined the council, who are older than you, they've already been to, they're all British students, were all British students who went to China as part of the British Council, did various activities. Some of them then studied at Peking University and other places. They're now back in Britain, but they're really keen to continue the Anglo-Chinese understanding. And so we'd like to think how they, as younger people in their 20s and 30s, can encourage you in your teenage years to stay with us on the journey of Anglo-Chinese understanding. So I think all that really remains for me to do is to thank everybody for participating, particularly thank Francis and Sun Hua and Fang for all their work, and to say, please do have a cup of tea now, stretch your legs, and then join us on the webinar, which will start at 11 o'clock, when we will be able to hear Francis in conversation with Michael Crook, and him and his family have got an amazing story to tell us about essentially British people living in China and being Chinese for over 100 years. So it's going to be a fabulous interview. I'm really looking forward to it. So I guess we'll probably leave it there, unless Fang, there's anything else we need to cover, or have we covered everything?
Yeah, I think we have. So I look forward to see other students in the next session of the dialogue.
Yeah, maybe one last question. Do we have plans to publish the essays, or to let us read them, or what's the thinking on that?
Yes, we are thinking to bring the essays over the past several years together to be compiled and to be not that publicly published, maybe just internally available between the students and the schools, and also SACU members, for a well reading of all the essays prepared by the students. I think it's a really fascinating thing.
It'd be fabulous. No, really looking forward to it. All right, well, thank you everyone ever so much, and we'll see you in just over half an hour on the other side, as they say. So click out of this meeting, find your webinar link, and see you at 11 o'clock in the webinar conversation. Bye everybody, thank you so much.